Have you ever felt like a penguin that's trying to climb a tree by himself? You may get such feeling by facing variations like this, or maybe even Scholar's Checkmate. In today's video, I'm gonna be giving you the basic theory that you need to know in order to start laughing next time your opponent tries something like this. And then I'm gonna be walking you through 4 model games that I played as an international master. So let's get started. So white plays e4, we start the game with e5, and now we get presented with this queen to h5 move, immediately targeting the e5 pawn. I recommend we stick with simple development, just getting the knight out while defending the pawn. And usually, next up, they will try the move bishop to c4, which is genuinely threatening to mate in 1 on f7, so you wanna defend against that, and we do by playing the move g6. Defending while attacking in the same time, getting rid of the queen, and probably they will follow this up by retreating to f3, okay? Reinforcing the threat. I know white has just made 3 consecutive tempo moves, but I promise this is not an issue, okay? I recommend you play the move knight to f6, developing and simply preparing to set up the fianchetto, play bishop g7, and then castle in case white does nothing crazy. However, there are 2 ways for white to try to make this somewhat spicy. And first of them is the move g4, which, it is basically an indicator saying that if you just go ahead like, oh, I'm just gonna complete my fianchetto and castle, bishop g7 can get you in trouble if you just move the knight away, because then queen takes on f7 will be checkmate once again. So in order to deal with g4, you have to kind of control your monkey brain a little and not do bishop g7. You have to watch out for opponent's threat. So therefore, we go counterattack, okay? We play the move knight e4. Now, knight e4 is a very powerful move because it's not only attacking the queen, but also hitting towards the fork, okay? White has 2 queen moves, none of them particularly threatening. In case they go to d1, what is the main drawback of this? Well, it is leaving the e4 pawn undefended. So we just take it. Now, instead, if they try to defend the pawn on e4 as well, by playing queen to d3, this also leaves something undefended. And in this case, that is the pawn on g4, which we just take, and black already has a winning position. Alright, so this is what you need to know in case of g4. But what if white just continues with this endless attack on queen to b3, okay? This is usually played by pretty needy guys that do not know how to take no as an answer. I mean, I guess we've all been there at some point. And even though you have 2 moves of dealing with this, the simple one is just to do queen to e7, defending, and then you very much just castle and get a normal game. However, there's a stronger move. And that is the counterattack. Because apparently the threat of bishop takes on f7 is not as strong as it may look. We can go knight to d4, targeting the enemy queen with the argument that, okay, if they take on f7, that is actually a pretty nasty trap. Look how this variation goes. Bishop captures, king up, only move, keeping an eye on to the bishop, only move for the queen to stay in touch with the bishop as c4. But then what do? We need to try to get rid of the key defender of the f7 bishop. And we can do that using a move like b5, okay? Now, queen has to leave. Notice that all the squares on this diagonal are taken. White moves the queen. Bishop remains undefended. We just win the game. Now, this is pretty much all you need to know against the wayward attack precisely. And we can move on to the more interesting stuff. The Scholar's Checkmate, okay? White plays e4. We start the game with e5, and now they go bishop out. We just develop our knight. I recommend you start with a queen's knight for this, knight to c6. And when they play the move queen to f3, setting up this cheeky little idea, well, there is nothing wrong with playing a move like knight f6, just developing and so on. But there is a hilarious move that you can use, which will genuinely give you an extra queen in at least half of your games. Yes, trust me, it's based on the Lichess database. According to the statistics, after you play the move f5, okay, stunning move, computer approved, good move as well. Most of your opponents will take you with a queen. Okay, now what is the point? Why is queen f5 such a horrific blunder? Well, pretty much white is just vulnerable to a double attack, okay? And you can try to pause the video and find it by yourself. And the move is d5, okay, boom. And okay, people that usually play this opening, they don't notice such things. They just go bishop takes, pick up the free queen, and that's how you genuinely refute the scholar's mate in like 3 moves, I guess. So yeah, f5, okay, additional alternatives. What else? Well, other than queen f5, the second most common move is taking with a pawn. You just want to play knight f6. Idea to play d5, set up the center, the pawn center, the strong BBC, big black center. You get the idea. White plays d3. We go knight d4. Targeting is the queen and the pawn. And then just play d5. Notice that white's pieces just kind of return to initial squares, and we have gotten a very nice pawn center. We can move our bishop, get castled, and then black just has a much better game without really having to do anything special. You just need to remember this f5 move. But okay, you may be wondering, all right, Alex, what if they just go bishop takes on g8? Well, that's a good question. And we have a very important move that you can use here. You can avoid taking immediately by playing the Zwischenzug. Knight d4, intermediate move, targeting the queen. If they check, which they normally do, you just have simple move g6, don't panic. They go back, because they need to defend the square as well. We take the bishop, and black is already much better thanks to the extra development and the bishop pair. So with that being said, I think we can just move on to the actual game and see how I am using these ideas against lower rated players, rated on average around 700. All right, everybody, getting another black game. Opponent goes e4. We're gonna be sticking with king's pawn, simply playing e5, and okay, are we gonna get a scholar checkmate kind of guy here? Let's see. I have no idea what's coming. I'm just gonna develop my knight. Alright, what a surprise. Seriously? Dude. Alright, now, there are definitely many ways for you to deal with this. You could play knight f6, queen f6 even. These are fine. But you came here for the good stuff. And that is f5. The good stuff is f5. Alright, is he gonna take with a queen? That is pretty natural move, I would say. Now, feel free. Go ahead. Pause the video. Because black has a very simple and also stunning winning move. Winning move? Yes, winning move. Move 4. You can immediately destroy white's nonsense. Alright? I'll give you even a hint. Queen is on f5. A bit vulnerable. Bishop as well. And you have a pretty cunning double attack. Alright. Gotta go d5. Boom. Attack. Open up this path for the bishop. By magic! I was about to say that you want a piece. No, there is the queen. Free queen. Give it to me, please. I like free queens. I always take a free queen. And okay, you know, game just goes like everything is normal. Yeah, immediately takes. We're just gonna play a game of chess where we are up a queen. I mean, probably wonder how this will go. Of course, I may still mess things up, but that is not really the goal of the video. Right? Alright, let's try to not mess things up. Up a queen. We have to do this. Alright, I'm gonna develop. Bishop out. Can we set up like a quick Greek gift? I would love to get my hands on the Greek gift, but that seems a little bit unobtainable. Not to say it may be a premature ejaculation. So, just gonna push in the center. Gonna be a good boy. Opening up the path. And maybe hinting towards knight g4. Okay, he plays h3. Thank you, opponent. I really needed a target. Now we may genuinely sack the bishop and hope for a checkmate. I mean, we're not gonna calculate a checkmate. We're gonna hope for a checkmate because the unexpected checkmates are the best. I mean, not really. I'm just kidding. You don't have to play it like this, but I have, yeah, let's say my sixth feeling that's telling me it's gonna be a checkmate, okay? And with the sixth feeling, I mean my experience over the years and not stockfish, in case that was not clear for any people that are watching. So, yeah, don't worry, I'm not cheating. I'm playing too bad to be considered a cheater. So, just gonna go knight g4. Just clarifying if that was not obvious for everyone. I'm playing so bad that I even had mate in 3. Wow. I had forced mate in 3, by the way, guys. You should have spotted that one. I'll show you after the game. Very important pattern that you want to get used to. Here, just about to end the game. Nothing really special. Mr. Selvam having a pretty rough one, but maybe next time he will try something different than, you know, Scholar's mate. At least go queen h5, dude. That's how the cool kids are playing it. All right. So, important mating net. Rook to d1. f2 is not defended. You got check. And then very important where you go with the bishop, you want to do g3. Okay, only move king g1. Boom. And then you force the mate. So remember, queen f3. Open up your eyes. Notice the checkmate. And then you go for the tricky move that I showed you. Play f5. Queen f5, you just won the game. ef5, you can just continue developing with a great position. So, with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. All right, everybody, getting another black game. Opponent goes e4. We're going to be sticking with the fundamentals. Playing e5. And okay, there we have it. There we have it. Alert. Queen attacking pawn. All right, just going to develop the knight. Defend that. And we're probably going to see the bishop. Okay, there it is. Threatening mate in 1. Okay, what do you need to do about this? It's important not to freak out. Okay, don't play knight f6. Because that will forget about checkmate in 1. You don't want to allow knight f6, queen f7. That's the main learning from this video. And probably if you already came here, you maybe already fell for that. So important, we play g6, targeting the queen. All right, now he's going to do queen f3, of course, just being kind of annoying and insisting. But, I mean, just look at this. It's like, you know, you play queen h5, you text to your crush, she says, okay, no, dude, I'm not interested. Please, I have a boyfriend. No. What are you doing? Just insist? Like bishop to c4, just like maybe you break up with your boyfriend, you play g6, he goes back onto f3, maybe after you break up, we get a relation. What is that? Stop doing this. Ain't good. Knight to f6, just defending and developing. Okay, he plays c3, fine. You know, just look at these pieces. Really, kind of, okay, bishop is fine on c4, just the queen is misplaced, and the knight is kind of lacking the natural square. So we have played the move g6, so we may very well just fianchetto. Okay, we did that, so... I mean, we're already sitting on the barbershop chair, we may very well just get a haircut. You know how it is. Gonna get castled. Can get castled on h4. We can also consider a move like h5. However, I don't really particularly consider this to be dangerous. But we may also play a move like d6. With a tricky idea, in case of h5, we may even develop the bishop. Okay, he just goes knight there. We can get castled. Yeah, just gonna do that. Prioritizing development, maybe expecting, okay, we see a knight jump. And whenever you see a knight there, I would just immediately question it. Okay, important. Bishops, knights on g5, pieces in your camp. This knight just feels like a pretty annoying mosquito here that I genuinely want to get rid of. Okay, please, knight, go away. And I'm actually super glad that we come across this theme, because this is one of the most controversial topics for beginners. Okay, who is better? He takes on f7. He's gonna get a rook and a pawn. But we have the 2 minor pieces. So technically, you know, according to basic math, it should be even. You know, rook being worth 5 points and pawn 1 point. And minor piece 3 points each. It's 6 against 6. Who is better and why? Well, I would say whenever you have this type of situation, it can vary. Okay, anything in chess can vary. I know you kind of hate this answer. You just want a simple solution that works against anything. I mean, you can get my courses, I guess, for that. No, I'm just kidding. You don't have to. But point is, okay, you need to understand how is the rook gonna be winning games. Well, the rook really needs open files in order to like really show its potential. As you can probably already guess, not so many open files for the rooks. So the rooks, okay, can be very effective in the endgame. Question is, will white make it until the endgame? I'd say due to the premature attaculation, I kind of doubt, but we'll see. We'll just try to continue, developing with tempo, and our minor pieces should definitely be better. Okay, I just want to play a move like d5. Even though this may kind of help him reach the endgame phase a little, I still think it's a good move, because, I can take with a queen. But it's just that his rooks still just will take so much time to enter the game, is that it's really gonna feel like useless. Okay, d4, winning a pawn. He has to go for the trade, I would be assuming. Yeah, there we have it. We're gonna be taking with the rook, of course, just bringing more pieces into the game. And he castles. All right, castling is a move. Just gonna take, cashing in my free pawn basically. Takes with the rook, getting the pin. Pretty much whenever you find yourself pinned, you wanna get rid of the pin. I will just start by e4, okay? I'm gonna salute the rook on f3. Plays rook to e3. And we magically managed to unpin because he just left. Okay, what's next? We'll try to activate our pieces. Okay, knight d5 would look pretty nice, targeting the rook, but then you lose the pawn. So you generally don't want to give up pawns for free. Just gonna defend this, okay? Could have played knight d5 as well. Anything wins. On knight c4 we have b5. On knight b5, yeah, a move like knight d5 would be very strong. And I really want you to pause the video here and try to find the next move. What should black do in order to get a crashing advantage? I mean, we already have a crashing advantage, but we're increasing it. So if you remember with the last move, we're not only attacking the rook, but also opening up bishop's path. And therefore, this just gives us a very nice knight b4 move, okay? Exploiting the pin. Just very simple one movers. Okay, you activate your pieces and you look for the hanging pieces. Your rook is undefended. Your rook to d1. Still, this is not a threat. I can very much just play something like a6, but I'm gonna keep it very simple. Knight d3. I'm gonna like sidestep anyways. It's not like I had to, but it's pretty simple. Gonna attack the knight. He's gonna go knight b5. Gonna attack it once again. Yep. And I'm gonna be playing a very kind of cute little idea. We're gonna be centralizing. Okay, he's gonna go back onto a3 like only square. Oh, that was not advisable. Because we take. And then how do you guys recapture on d4? Do you take with the rook? Taking with the rook looks tempting, but even better if you can get the bishop. Just slicing the board into, basically like slicing a pizza. And the bishop is, ready to come back in time. Just gonna speed up a little bit now and gonna give him a check. Gonna activate a bishop after. Yeah, targeting the rook. On the check, we're gonna be activating the king. The king is always very nicely placed in the center of the board. When you have the endgame, the king can be utilized as a goalkeeper in soccer. When you have, the last attack, it's very nice to have your goalkeeper in the enemy penalty area. Maybe you never know. He just scores a header and you win the game. So I'm gonna literally use my king here and show you the power of activating your king in the endgame. I'm gonna be shouldering the enemy king. Okay, just watch this. Guys, I'm showing you new meta. This was not like done before. I promise. Like, look at this king. It's like a king on steroids. I'm gonna do like rook f7. Just pretty much cut away the enemy king. And then we're gonna go for a smothered checkmate. But like a very weird smothered checkmate, okay? We're gonna start with this check. We're gonna play knight f2 next. King h1 only move. Alright. He's gonna go to like g1. We're gonna do rook f7, making a silent threat that he may not see. Okay, he took this way, just gonna take with a bish. And then that is a pretty simple route for the mate. Yes, so I assume he will take my pawn onto h6. Oh, I don't want to get the rook fork, by the way, so I think I'm gonna use e3 instead. I was about to blunder this beautiful game. I just want to sacrifice and then open up a path for the rook. We get a pretty nice mate, and really, you see how the goalkeeper managed to be very useful into this attack, basically taking away the only escaping square that white would have had. So, okay, what do you want to learn from this game? I think that there were many important takes, including the early dating advice after Queen H5, but also the fact that you want to complete your fianchetto, develop with tempo, and whenever you get the situation with two minor pieces against a rook and pawn, if there are no open files on the board, the minor pieces should always be prioritized. So with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. All right, everybody, looks like we get another black game. I'm gonna be playing e5, and let's see what opponent has in mind. Are we gonna get hit by the aggressive right lever kind of thing? Oh no, it has queen to g4. How nice, how interesting. How are we gonna punish this premature attaculation, or just breaking a very important fundamental rule which says the queen should generally develop last? We just continue by getting our pieces developed. Knight to f6, targeting the enemy queen while developing a piece and gaining time. He goes back onto f3. All right, how do we continue? You generally want to develop your knights before bishops. Bishops are like, it's not a crime against chess if you develop the bishops first. It's just that, the knights on the rim are game. Therefore, it is very simple and straightforward that usually in this position, the knight should develop on these two squares. Why? Because they simply put pressure onto the BBC, the big boy center. Look at these squares. These are really like, the important part of the board. Okay, opponent just plays bishop to c4. Very much just developing, minding his own business, perhaps having wet dreams of queen takes on f7. How are we gonna punish that? We don't. We just develop. Get a bishop out. Okay, get castled. Get developed. You don't wanna have this kind of mindset of, oh, opponent made a mistake, I gotta punish him immediately. Even though that may sometimes work, you typically want to have a pretty balanced approach to the game and just try to make the best out of your situation and don't obsess over like really refuting your opponent's moves, because sometimes there might simply not be a way, as there's not in this case. And when they play bishop to e3, I feel like a lot of people would just go ahead and take, perhaps even thinking, oh, he's gonna take with a pawn, he's gonna have double pawns, and then that's good for me. I would say it's definitely a very double-edged sword if you decide to take onto e3. After pawn takes, you could be like playing knight e2, castle, the rook will be onto the open file. That's kind of risky. I recommend bishop b6 instead, invite him to take, so that we can take back with a pawn, opening up rook's path. And as it will happen in these kind of low-rated games, they will make a lot of concessions and unforced errors. Basically, if this was a tennis game, opponent is just really struggling to get a serve in. He's just doing double fault every single time. So typical for beginners, they will capture everything that it's capturable pretty much. So just take towards the center, important rule that you want to get used to. Opening up rook's path. And then what are we going to do next? Pretty much just try to develop the remaining pieces. Okay, notice mistake. You remember why this was a mistake? I told you in the beginning that knights on the rim are game or dump or dimp. That's not over, but I just made it up. I'm gonna play d6. I genuinely just wanna get my bishop developed, move the queen last, connect my rooks. Okay, important rule to get used to. And then we just play a game. Notice, even though I know my opponent is constantly making mistakes, I'm not like desperate, okay? It's important, guys. You also want to get this, maybe pick it up into like your repertoire when you're trying to get a girlfriend. Usually it's not very good to be desperate, okay? I mean, depends on how rich you are, but you get the point. So white plays knight to g5. Now, this gives me a choice between doing h6, just trying to immediately get rid of the knight, or just try to develop. Okay, I really recommend you usually try to get rid of such annoying pieces as soon as you can. Now, if he is clever, he has a very strong move that I think he may not be able to find. But here, it is very interesting for white to play a move like h4. Pretty much sacrificing the knight, I would have not taken it, at least not immediately. But the point is, white would have gotten a great attack. I'll show you after the game. He goes back. Well, let's just develop with tempo, hitting the queen, and then we move our own queen, connecting the rooks. Okay, where do we go? Let's just say d7 is nice, kind of putting a little bit of pressure onto this diagonal. Now notice that rooks are connected. He plays f3, never play f3. Why? Well, in this specific example, it's just blocking queen's path towards the knight. Meaning we got a free pawn to take. And look, very first move, we have finished development, move the queen. The mistake already happened, and we are already completely winning with the extra pawn. Now, you shouldn't relax. And I'll start by now trying to activate my pieces even further. Setting up the royal fork, also attacking this. Let me, yeah, remind you of that. And okay, it's just that my knights are gonna be very annoying for my opponent. Okay, we exploit a little bit of a pin. Goes queen back. My knights are still kind of hunting him down. And he goes, oh no, my queen. I'm just gonna take it and kind of speed up a little bit because not much time is left on the clock. But pretty much at this point, it's just about, yeah, ready to clean up the board. Take all the pieces, like literally. Rook e2, just let's say give a check, play f5, try to open up this rook. Okay, we're up a lot of material, but we need to open up lines for our pieces. So we need to trade a bunch of pawns usually just to make the rooks, you know, let them activate. Also, this could pretty much force checkmate in case he ignores. Yeah, we'll do that and then probably just rook f1. King e2, rook f2 is nice. Yeah, just gonna play that. If he takes, it's just gonna be a forced mate. Not much he can really do about it, and you pretty much get a textbook win against a very kind of off-putting, annoying queen g4 move. Okay, I know maybe you guys may be like, okay, how do we deal with stuff like queen h5, which is way more threatening? Don't you worry, we're gonna discuss about that too. Okay, now in the meantime, I mentioned there was one moment that I really wanted you to explain, where the knight could have been, yeah, left hanging on g5. The point is, if you take, let's get this like very annoying structure, okay? And let's say you make a mistake going back. Yes, queen h5. Congrats, you managed to lose a game against a 500. So yeah, that knight would have been a poison knight, and I guess we would have probably had to do something like knight d4, like more aggressive. Force him to play queen to d1, and then still taking is kind of risky. Maybe we throw in like a bishop g4 type of move. Maybe now we could take and then play knight g4. Idea being that queen can no longer enter the game. Like, you know, queen does not jump over knight, so that's not a thing. And yeah, that would have been, I think, winning for us. And pretty much you can just see that by move 12, we're much more ahead in development. Our pieces are better placed because they have been developed according to the center. And black just has a borderline winning position. So with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright, everybody, getting another game with the black pieces. Gonna be meeting e4 with e5, and the opponent plays the bishop's opening. Okay, this is interesting. Now, are we gonna see the early queen attack type of thingy? Let's find out. Okay, knight to c6. Okay, there it is. Queen f3, just casually threatening to checkmate me. I mean, I find it so crazy that in this rating range, like below 1000, you know, if you could, let's say, have these guys in like your neighbor and you go outside, you can just throw a frisbee and you're very likely to hit one of these guys. It's like, this is how many of them are making mistake like this, okay? How do you capitalize on these mistakes? You can just develop. But just because I like you, I'll show you even a sexier move. Not in that way. We're gonna play f5. Why is that so interesting? Well, if they take with the queen, they just lost. By far, queen takes is the most natural move. Now, if they take on g8, that's leaving, that's giving interesting play. But they are really gonna take either with the pawn or with the queen in general. Queen h5 check. First of all, why is queen takes on f5 such a blunder? Well, you pause the video, you tell me. But if you cannot find it, then it's simply d5. Targeting bishop, hitting queen, you win a piece. Pawn to f5, we have knight f6, d5, strong center, black is better. Against check, simple move, g6, target the queen. Ready to develop next, play something like knight f6. Simply following it up with natural developing moves. I pretty much just expect him to go queen to f3. And kind of, I don't know. Maybe he'll play queen e2 as well, out of pity. Yeah, queen e2, there it is. Here, I think it's important not to get overly excited and start kind of copying your opponent with this sort of premature attackation by playing stuff like knight e4. No. It's like, sure, you attack the queen, you attack on c2, but it's not really the winning idea. And you don't want to be moving the same piece twice in the opening if there's not a very good reason to do that. So just knight f6, okay? Targeting the center, prioritizing development. All right, if he takes, we can take back. But you also have options like d5. Now, question is, we play d5, he plays bishop. How is that going to affect the game? Okay, I think taking with the pawn is simplest, and maybe they will just stick with that, but you really want to look for counterattacks like this. So yeah, just going to play simple move. Notice that there is no check because the knight covers that. Otherwise, it would have been pretty deadly. And, well, on knight f3, we play e4, just targeting the knight and being very annoying. Bishop to d3. What do we do against bishop to d3? We don't rush with e4, but we get the BBC. Look at this juicy big boy center. Just d5, preparing e4, controlling all these squares in the center. It's like all yours. Just imagine you could go into your home city in like the center, and you're basically able to rent the whole thing for yourself and your friends. This is literally how you feel when having such massive pawn center. Just controlling everything, everywhere. Nobody moves. Everything happens as you please. All right, bishop to d6, just defending the pawn. Okay, very important on bishop to b5. That's pinning the knight, and that's also threatening to win this. We'll develop the bishop and defend this. He plays f4, just gonna sidestep. Simple move. Get this massive center. Just recap. Threat of winning the f4 pawn. He probably has to defend with d3 or g3, I would assume. So yeah, d3 gets played. And okay. We can get castled. But even better, I think it's time to activate this bishop, creating a very nasty pin. And next, I think we're ready to castle. Notice that with every single move, I'm either prioritizing controlling the center with my pawns or developing my pieces. And we get castled as soon as we can, pretty much. Can get castle now. With knight h3, he's basically saying that he wants to castle next, because that's why he moved it. Now, question is, does it make sense to play knight to g4? I think I'm going to go knight to g4, just sort of getting ready to attack him. He's pretty much going to go into like a pretty wild area of this city. Okay, there's like a lot of shady people on this side of the board. So I think, opponent is in a pretty dangerous situation right now with like all these bad boys looming. Queen to h4. It's just, a matter of time until something unexpected happens. May even castle long, or not castle at all, just to use the g file for the rook. Plays queen to e1, offering queen trade, which is definitely what everyone would do. Whenever you feel in danger and you offer queen trade, it's pretty much like you're calling the police. It's safe if it works, good for you, but we don't have to take. That's nice. So when you're on the attack, try to keep queens on the board. When you're on defense, obviously you do the opposite. So keep the queen. He is still pretty much pinned all over. Can barely move. Knight to c3, just developing. Pretty natural move by my opponent. Well, think time to castle. Then get this rook onto g8. Not rushing. A lot of people would just rush here trying to go for like the final blow. I don't really see it, so I'm not gonna try to make miracles happen. We'll get my development. Remember, fundamental rule, very important. Try to take towards the center. It is a position where we should break the rule. I mean, obviously, we're gonna take the rook, but this was also interesting to open up rook's path. So we take fat chunk of material. And I think I'm just gonna play rook g8 next after he takes. Because he's gonna be very tempted to check me. And we're gonna get a very nice final picture. That is actually gonna be so nice. I know 100% he's gonna go check. We move king to b8. And then he's gonna do whatever. Okay, he's gonna take something. He has no idea what's about to happen. Okay, he does that. That's also reasonable. Okay, let's say. I'm gonna play king to b8. Okay, just kind of trying to debate him into into taking. Will he take? I think he 100% takes. There's no way he's not. And okay, how do we make this happen? I have queen h3 ideas. But I also have like bishop to b6 as some kind of a nasty plan. It's kind of tough to make this work, however. And it's also very much unnecessary. In case that was not very obvious. But we're gonna make it work. Okay, we're just gonna do queen h. That's pretty simple, nothing really fancy going on, just a queen trade. We're gonna be winning the queen back immediately, more or less. And I think in order to stop checkmate, he has to give up a piece. This is pretty much just a very simple win. Notice this mating net because the rook covers escape square, so he has to give up the queen. Big threat, rook g1. Only move would be to move the bishop to control the square. And okay, we win that. And then the game. He plays knight e2, which sadly, defends against g1, but leaves another square undefended. The knight no longer covers d1, so very simple move. We get to check, and this position is so winning that you genuinely afford to meet knight g1 with any move. Okay, really, he has no way to escape that checkmate. We could do like genuinely anything. It is such a funny zugzwang. Let's see. Is he gonna make a move or just rage quit? He says, lol, I don't buy it in the chat. Wait, what? And now we're just gonna be making h5 type of move. He's literally in zugzwang, has no moves. So funny and rare. Look at this position. He just died all over the place. He can move nothing. Just look. Plays bishop to d2. We're gonna let him, we're cooking him. He's like a soup right now. He there? Make a king move, and then finally I think we take. So just taking. When is the last time you saw a checkmate with rooks like this? I just find that pretty funny. So Key takeaway, queen f3. Uh, there is nothing wrong with the standard knight f6. But if you're looking for these very interesting games, f5, you have no idea how interesting these kind of games are going. Like, yeah, if they go queen takes, congrats, you just won. You just win a piece. Boom. Hello. Against check, you have g6 and then capture the bishop. If they take with a pawn, you have simple move because this is a threat. Play knight f6, stop that, and you play it like a gambit for a bit. Okay, you do d5, e4, you're gonna recapture the pawn on f5, and you're pretty much getting an improved version of the king's gambit, but with the reversed colors. So against what he played, this was pretty much just very simple stuff to deal with. Already we had a winning position, more or less, from the opening. Just easy development, and yeah, we got him where we wanted. So with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game.